In step 1, we are going to cut and peel the baseball. In step 1, you'll need a baseball and a utility knife. You will now grab the baseball and with the utility knife make a cut around the circumference of the baseball. As you make your cut around the circumference of the baseball, your cut may not be perfect, but that's okay. Once you finish your first cut, you'll then make another cut perpendicular to your original cut around the circumference of the baseball. After you finish cutting, you should have 4 equal quadrants of the baseball cover. Next, you're going to peel off all 4 quadrants of the baseball cover. A lot of times after cutting, you will have webbing that is still attached to the baseball quadrant. You will need to remove the webbing before you can move on to the next step. Next, you'll need to grab a quadrant piece and your tape measure. Next, you're going to mark with your finger a spot on the baseball quadrant about 3 inches down from the tip or pointed end of the quadrant. Now grab your scissors and start your cut about 2 inches down from the tip of your baseball quadrant. Then proceed to cut the bottom of your petal in a circular cut. Once you have your petal the right size, you can use it as a template for your other petals. Save your leftover scrap piece. You will need it later. Now grab another baseball quadrant and use your template flower petal to make identical copies that will keep your petals the same size. Now grab another baseball quadrant and repeat this process until you have 4 baseball flower petals. Now we will take our leftover scrap pieces and cut them into isosceles triangles. They'll be about 1 inch in length. You can also use the first triangle you cut as a template for the rest of your triangles. You will only need 3 triangles for the next step. In step 3, we're going to take our lighter and fuse the stitching of our baseball petals. Here is what the stitching looks like that needs to be fused. This step is extremely important so that our baseball flowers do not fall apart. You'll need to continue this process until all the stitching is fused. As a bonus step, you can fuse the stitching of your triangles, but it's not required. First, plug in your glue gun to preheat and insert your glue stick. For this step, you'll need your flower, petals, triangles, and your glue gun and glue sticks. Now we're going to take one of our triangles and we're going to add glue to it to glue it to our flower. As you glue the triangle to the flower bud, make sure the long side of the triangle is facing the bottom, while the pointed end is facing the top. You can also take an extra baseball petal or just an extra piece of scrap to cover your fingers of the triangle so that the hot glue does not burn you. You'll now hold for 30 to 45 seconds until the glue has solidified. Some flowers that you may buy have extra leaves that are under the bud of your flower. You may want to fold them up under your triangles, that way they don't stick out. I've found that while making the baseball flowers, those leaves seem to be more of a hassle if you leave them out. Then you'll just repeat this process with another triangle. When you start to glue your second triangle to your flower, you need to get the tip of your triangle to overlap your first triangle's tip. Now add your third and final triangle. When gluing your third triangle, you need to make sure your bottom two sides of the triangle overlap the other triangles you already have on the flower. Once you finish adding the triangles, the flower may not look very good at the moment, but once you complete the project, all you will be able to see are the tips of each triangle. Now, grab one baseball petal and add glue to the bottom half of the petal. We are going to glue the petal in between two tips of the triangles. You'll still want to take an extra baseball petal or just an extra piece of scrap to cover your fingers from the petal so the hot glue does not burn you. Now grab another petal and repeat the process again. When gluing your second petal, you're going to slightly cover the first petal, and you're going to want to cover up about half of the circumference of the rose. You'll now grab your third petal when you glue your third petal, you're going to add it to the opposite side of where you glued your first petal. Now take your last petal and add the glue. We will glue our final petal between the first and third petals. This needs to be as even as possible, and it needs to be opposite your second petal. In our final step, we're going to cut, add, and tie the ribbon. You'll need to grab your scissors, a tape measure, and the ribbon. Just a reminder, your ribbon needs to be wired. With this particular ribbon, this was 71% metallic, 27% nylon, and 2% polyester. Now, grab your tape measure and extend it out to 3 feet, or 36 inches. Next, grab your ribbon and measure out 3 feet of ribbon. Then we'll make a cut with our scissors at the 3 foot mark, or 36 inches. Now we'll take our ribbon and add it to our flower. The first thing you'll do is tie an overhand knot with your ribbon. Next, we'll take the ribbon strand below our knot and we'll make a loop with it. Then you'll take the ribbon strand above your knot and we'll bring it over the top and around the lower loop. You'll then continue with that top strand of ribbon and feed it back through the knot to create the bow. Now you'll just need to fix your bow until it's nice and even. And you can play around with it until you get it exactly how you want it. And the way we can make our ribbon look a little bit better is we can take the ends of our ribbon and fold them in half. Then we can make a diagonal cut from the outside of our ribbon to the inside of our ribbon. You're going to repeat this process on the other side of your ribbon strand. This will give your ribbon strands a nice double-pointed finish. After this final step, your baseball flower is completed.